Back in 1939, we had a person that put together a team of cryptologists. And these cryptologists, they had in Britain a combination of different machines that they used to decipher some of humanity's most common problems by then, right? These problems were very tricky because they allowed the enemy to basically communicate without us knowing what basically was behind their messages. This was a big issue at the time because basically they could not prevent attacks or even like understand what they should do by then to learn that. This machine combined a few things to help break a code. It was a complex machine that used mechanical rotors to change and simulate the enemy machine and potentially test different settings so it could decipher the message that was behind that communication that they received. This machine, by the time, was unbreakable. They believed that the machine was unbreakable. There was no way for you to know what was behind that message. And the enemy believed that was going to be completely secure, and so they did for many, many years. But then this British mathematician and computer scientist saw the potential to build something that was going to change humanity, right? And this machine was called the BOMBE, and it was used to decipher the Enigma machine. The person, Alan Turing, basically put together this machine and helped the Allies to win Second World War, right? This was a significant step and one of the very first steps into the history of computing worldwide. Some say that this was the very first attempt of building AI, right? This was the very first moment that we saw that AI could be used for good purposes. This machine, basically the BOMBE, allowed you to automate certain things by trying multiple times to achieve the message that was behind the German communications lines. And this was used actually later to lay out most of the foundations that we see on computers today. So if you look on all the artifacts that Elaine was explaining earlier today, you're probably going to find some of the inspirations there that was used to create all the devices that we have today here with us. If you move, yeah. So today, a few years later, more like 80 years later, AI is a huge market, right? So just last year alone, some of the AI companies that we had, like ChatGPT, today they boast over 180 million users. So it went from just a few people using that on a small room to a couple of million people using that for daily communications on their computer devices and iPhones. Today, 65% of company CEOs, they believe they're going to use AI in their business plan for this year, for the upcoming years, or in the next 5 years. And 97% believe they will positively impact their work, the way they're producing business, developing services for their clients. So this is a big thing. This is a big thing that we're probably going to see more and more. There is no way that we are going to go back to where we were doing things, 10, 15 years ago, just because AI will be commonplace, everywhere that we go. But the most important thing that we have with AI is understand that AI is not going to take our jobs. AI is going to take the jobs of the person using AI to do our jobs, right? So what we have to do is that we need to become that person that's using AI in our favor, right? So we can actually create other things by benefiting the AI, right? Since the early days of AI, to break war machine codes, it has evolved a lot. Today, one of the things about AI is that it's not going to be just a repeated information code breaking process. Instead of attempting all the hundreds and thousands and millions and billions of solutions available behind the code, AI today learns from the behavior of past examples, right? So when you get, for example, something that the machine learned about, it's going to take that behavior, that information that it already knows, and it's going to use that information forward, right? This capability with machine learning allowed the computer codes to improve a lot dramatically, because now you don't have just one key data point or millions of data points. You have billions, trillions of information available out there that the computers today can mash up together and create something that's going to be really interesting. There are so many applications that we can use with AI today, and some of them I can share here with you today. One of those are machine learning processes. Machine learning processes, what they do is that they combine what data that we already know, and it's going to take that data that we already know and it's going to combine to create new things. An example of machine learning, for example, is you take, for example, a couple of millions of pictures, and they can be pictures of cats, pictures of horses, pictures of dogs, right? And you put all of these into a computer, and you tell the computer, figure out what that new thing is for me. And you give them a picture of a giraffe. And you ask them, what is this? And basically by using all the information that it already has, it's going to figure out and tell you that that information is this type of animal, right? So that's something that the AI can do today. Then there is something that's deeper, right? There is machine learning that goes beyond that. And that's going to be neural networks. So neural networks, they're going to take the knowledge without you categorizing this, and it's going to transform into something new, right? It's going to take that same information and figure out by itself how many legs does a cat have, how many heads does a centipede has, right? It's going to figure out all this information automatically just by having thousands and millions of photos, and it's going to come up with real things just by using its own analysis. So that's really unprecedented, that a machine can learn everything, and without us telling what it is, it can just come up and provide insight into that information. Another one that's really cool, and we're going to see some examples of that, is something called NLP. And NLP is known as natural language processing. What it does is that it has the ability to learn about the voices of us humans, and then we can actually use that communication to reproduce voice and create new communication standards moving forward. One of these, for example, enables us to understand what the person is saying, allows us to transcribe speech, so we can get, for example, text, and we can use that to translate these outwards, or use this, for example, on Google Maps. When the machine is talking to us, is able to do that. And more recently, allows us to take input and have conversations live. So you can actually have someone speaking with another person in a different language. You're going to say something, the person will actually be able to listen to this in a different language, and you can have a real-time conversation by using NLP. Another example of natural language processing is going to be, for example, when you get something that's complex and you try to break it down into small things, right? I can give you an example of something here. For example, you can tell the machine, for example, can you tell me how to make a payment, right? That for the machine is a complex phrase. But then the machine is able to get something compared to a similar phrase and understand that this is the same thing. So you tell them, how do I transfer money? And for the machine, that's the same thing. It means the same thing. Like, how do you make a payment or how do you transfer money? The machine is able to understand today, by using this deep network of communication, how to put up that together using neural networks. So it's something that's really interesting. And even things like, for example, you tell them, like, for example, Baxter Road. They understand this is an address. But if you tell them, for example, the same person is called Baxter Smith, they understand this is a person's name and not an address anymore. So all these things are today inventions of AI that what they can do are really unprecedented. All right. I can give you another example of how AI evolved over the years and how it became really powerful. In 1950, for example, one of the first AI programs was called Logic Terrorist. And this was after, World War II has ended. And it was really interesting at the time because that was the first time that we actually had a program that was actually thinking and not just trying a lot of things, to come up with an example of computer usage. So this was put together by two scientists, Newell and Simon. They were both based, they were actually based one in the UK, another one here in America. And they put this program at the time to figure out how to decipher mathematical theorems. So they could actually prove, basic things like why 1 + 1 is 2, and actually resolve this in a mathematical logic by using this promptly and effectively. It was actually funny because then, they did a presentation for the Royal Society in the UK, and after doing that, after showing the machine, the actual proper machine running at the time, using AI, because it was actually deciphering the algorithms by itself, they told after the presentation that there is evidence that nobody beyond Newell and Simon themselves believe there is any long-range significance on what they're doing, right? Which is funny, they had AI in the 50s, right? 70 years ago, but they didn't actually understand what purpose of it, because they thought, mathematical theorems, there is no use case for my life, so it's probably not something that we can use. They actually had this published as a paper back then, and one of the co-authors of the paper was actually the computer. It was actually not a person, it was the computer. And this was interesting. That was something ironic at the time, but they didn't want to publish the paper. So this highlights the difference of what we're going to see forward, right? New technologies in the beginning, they are not easy to adopt. They can be really early, and it takes a lot of years to adopt later. But this is going to show us that every interaction that we had in the decades forward, they actually had something improved, some type of improvement, just as we see in those two examples 70 years ago. So here we have two examples of how AI is shaping already our world today. We're going to see a few examples now of things that we have put together, so you can see how we're using these tools. The first one, it's huge companies, and that's becoming more and more common, like McDonald's and other corporations, like Coca-Cola also is another one. They're using this AI technology to shape things forward in every type of environment, right? It's on retail, it's on our events, we're going to see examples of events, but it's everywhere. Today, for example, when you go to a McDonald's checkout, you're able to see, for example, there, just by selecting a few products, they can actually recommend you new products based on your checkout experience, automatically, right? When you go, for example, to Amazon, they're able to predict, for example, new products that you should buy 3 months from now, just because you have been purchasing those for the last 2 or 3 months, right? So these logics are being applied at big companies, but now it's our time as well to apply this on our daily jobs, because AI is going to be for everyone, right? And we can take the leap forward. Another example is this video here that we have on the right. This one is a type of video that's being used more and more by companies, such as Sony, 20th Pictures. And they're using this basically to run scripts and automatically generate them. And based on this, they automatically come up with the scripts that work or not based on previous successful classics, right? So today, before you actually record the movie, you just upload the script that you have, the final script, to the machine. And the machine will tell you, it's missing emotion at, this row. Basically, they're able to find emotions, and they're able to predict how the viewer is going to feel at the theaters when you actually watch the movie, just by uploading the script into the machine, right? So these things are already happening today, and companies like this are already using AI, on their daily information to put this together, all right? So next time that you're watching a movie on the theaters, you got to think, is that someone wrote that, or that's a machine asking me to cry, That's going to be something that we're going to think about. Another example that we have, it's this commercial, Synthetic Summer. There is music to it, but it's not really that great. It's just a background, so we don't need the music. What's really cool about this video, it looks nice, and it's a beverage, I believe. But what's funny is that there is no humans here. There is no background. All of this, 100%, is machine generated, right? So the way that they're using this technology today, this was built with an early version of, LP 2.0, right? There are some weird things sometimes that happens there. But the point being is that this specific commercial was built with something called Gen 2, which was a data set of about 240 million images and about 6.4 million video clips. So that's using a combination of previous content, right, that people have categorized. So for example, the beverage that they have on their hands. A human went to another video, random video on the internet, and they categorized, oh, this is a video that there is a beverage there, there is a human, there is a tree there on this video. And they have categorized this over 6.4 million video clips. And then there is this database available there to generate this. So what the AI can do is that the AI can come up together and mesh these things together. They can use these 240 million images to actually combine them and put this on a video, and then the human can go there in the end and just edit them as a single thing. And that's how you have videos like this, right? So that video on the left, the synthetic summer, was built like this. Was basically excerpts of different things and mashing them up together. The video on the right, it's more interesting, I believe, because this video was built by using DeepL, right? This video here has no clipping and no categorization at all. This video was completely built by a computer without human input, right? It just said, like, come up with a video about a cat or something, playing something, and it came up with this video automatically by using all the script. They wrote all the script automatically, and all the information up there was generated. So it's really fantastic what's going on, and also a little bit scary. That's what we need to think about, right? How are you going to differentiate in the future something that's real and something that's not? If computers today, this is something that you can do at home, right? You can go home and you can open one of these algorithms, and you can actually generate a video like this just by using the knowledge that is available today. So in the future, there's going to be a lot of challenge to validate video and other technologies, just because commercials are built like this every single day. So it's the future right here. Then we have a few examples now moving to other industries. They are really cool. We have this being applied everywhere today, from supply management to customer service and marketing analysis. And there you go. That's a funny video. They said here it's a funny video to break the monotony. All right, that sounds good. Then we have a couple examples on automation. And this is things that we can apply on our daily jobs. The previous videos, I think they were interesting for us to see the impact of what's coming through, right? For the next, it's already coming today, but what's even prediction of the next 5 years. But I wanted to share a few examples of things that are being available today that we can use in our daily jobs, right? Customer service, sales, marketing, and of course, event planning as well. These services are taking activities that sometimes are mundane, and they're automating that for us, right? And it's not hard to use them. Some of these tools are really affordable. They cost you like $10 to $20 a month, and you can use them using a website. It's as simple as going to a website and using that. And some of them, for example, are going to be customer service. Like today, when you go to a customer service, like in the past, we had to go to these prompts. You remember, like, what do you want to talk about? I want to talk to sales. Press 1, press 2, press 3. Like, this is long gone. Like, this is not going to be the future. In the future, you're going to have someone talking to you that's a machine, and you're going to tell them what do you want, and they're going to feel like it's a person talking to you, and it's not going to be a person. It's going to be a bot. And this person will tell you what do you want. You're going to have a conversation, and then at a certain point in the conversation, if the machine doesn't know what's going on, they'll say, I'll transfer this to my supervisor. And then this will be the very first person that you're talking to, right? This is happening already. There are technologies today that you can use that to implement today customer service that talks to you like a human, and that's going to be available via phone and via text as well. All right. The same thing can happen for sales and marketing. Like today, you can automate communication on things like the spam that you get on LinkedIn. That sometimes is not a person at all. Like that's also someone that's spamming you to get things out there. But also the content of the emails, the contents of the communications that I receive, the landing pages that are written out there, all of those are generated by machines as well. That's something that you can just go somewhere and you just have the machine writing the content for you, and you don't even perceive the difference between an AI-generated content and a human-generated content these days. So it's something that sales and marketing benefit a lot from that. And also we have things like HR. They are taking this a leap forward. You have, for example, AI, a use case where you can have performance reviews done automatically by bots, and you don't feel like that's a bot talking to you, but they're actually reviewing your performance, and they can come up with recommendations. You know, even if your manager doesn't know them, the bot knows what you need to improve on. So it's actually scary that some companies are able to do that. I think the use case that most of us already identify is going to be e-commerce and retail. This is available out there all the time. Like I should mention, McDonald's, they're doing this already in the checkout process. Amazon is doing the same thing for us. But then there are companies that enable us to do that on our own shops, right? So if you take, for example, some products and you can install them at your own store, or for example on your own website when you're selling tickets or other technologies, and that's going to automatically recommend which products you should buy. It's going to mail the customer when they need to buy a refill, and that's going to be done automatically with just $20. So that's available today already. Companies like Shopify are doing things like that. And then I have this example here of how learning and development also is training future videos, the videos that you learn when you join a company.
Hello there. We are HeyGen's avatar and Synthesia's avatar, and I'm here to explain the differences between us. HeyGen's avatar offers better quality than Synthesia's in terms of lip syncing, accuracy, and overall performance. With HeyGen's avatar, the lip syncing and accuracy are more precise and the lip movements are more diverse and natural. In comparison, Synthesia's avatar's lip syncing and accuracy are not as refined and the lip movements are more limited. But that's not all. HeyGen's avatar also offers superior overall performance. It's more dynamic and interactive, with natural body language that adds a level of engagement to the avatar's expressions. So if you want the best avatar technology with the highest quality and most natural performance, choose HeyGen. Contact us today to learn more about how we can help you bring your avatar to life.
As you know probably by now, these are not humans, right? These are built by machines as well. And the voices as well, they're fully built by machine learning. So what's really interesting here is that in the past you would watch a video like this and you would say, oh, this is not human, right? Like there is someone there. But if you look at it, and you gotta really pay attention. Like you gotta be in an event at the computer museum, with someone talking about AI to figure out maybe that's not a human, So that's the level of things that we're going to see, right? Before we go to the next slide, there is also something that that happened to my brother the other day, November last year, right? That brought to me the powers of AI in a bad way, right? So we received a call from his bank, and he was his bank branch manager talking to him, saying that they needed to wire some money to someone else. Like he was going to do an investment at the time, and she told him that there was an opportunity that they could invest. He received then, the call was from the bank, the voice was from his bank manager. He logged into the app, and there was a link that he received from them. He received the codes and shared with her over the phone, and all of this thing led that this was not her. This was not his bank manager. In the past, when we had a scam or something, someone would call us, and you would receive someone from a random number, you would receive someone from a voice that you don't know, was a new person, or you would receive bank codes that are not, something's weird, right? That used to happen in the past. Right now, that's not the future. Like this is going to happen better and better. The scammers are going to be really good at figuring out how to get the information from us. So moving forward, we gotta be able to always, just say no, go figure out if that's the actual bank app that you're using, because my brother at the time, it was a substantial amount of money that he had to recover the next day because he figured out something was wrong. But this is happening, right? The AI, it's available in every single industry. It's just not good for the good, also for the bad. All right. Then, as we go into event planning, I do have a few recommendations that we're using for that, the best practices. So, when you're using AI, my recommendation is always try it. Make sure that you're playing with it. Use your time, sometimes use this as an education experience, You can put 15, 20 minutes and just try new ideas, What can I actually get from my job today? And there are so many things that we do as event planners, right? We have to do audience analysis. We need to figure out who should I invite to the next event, right? Where are they? Just go to ChatGPT and ask them, I'm going to host an event for the MPI chapter, this day and time. Who should I invite? Can you put together a list of people for me? And they're not going to figure out as good as we do, but that's going to provide you insight that is sometimes we don't have, and that's going to allow us to learn from what the machine's saying, and we can actually improve that as well. The same thing comes with budgeting and financial planning. We have seen some good examples of how you can take something of past historical information from events and say, predict my budget for the next year. Here, for example, are the budget reports for my last 3 events. Just upload a spreadsheet on the system, and they have this option to upload that. And you just tell me, these are the spreadsheets for my last 3 events. Tell me how much is going to be my event in 2025. And you'll have incredible results. I did that the other day, and it was pretty accurate, compared to what we usually have in our spending annually, for example, on trade shows. So this is a good example that you can try for budgeting and financial planning. Then we do have for marketing promotion, here's an example that we have actually implemented this on our own software, which allows you to type something, for example, create marketing communication events for me for this event in Panama. And it comes up with all the email cadences that you need to send. For example, send an email early on, send a reminder, invite people, tell them about what's going to happen on this event. So you can also use that for that purpose. Then we have event planning tools that you can automate as well. For example, list all the tasks that I have to do for my next event. So you gotta email the speakers, you gotta make sure they are going to arrive on time, you gotta be able to predict, that the sponsors are going to have their insurance, they're going to have all the hardware that they need. All these things, the machine can do that for you, right? They can automate all these tasks, and you can just review them in the end by using some of these tools for task management. Then, of course, we come to registration. Registration is really something that's changing a lot. You can have a lot of AI recommending you tickets and products that you can buy early on and find when they actually sell better. Do they sell better on a Friday or Sunday evening? I don't know, let the AI figure out that for us. You can just plug and play all of these for registration as well. Then we also have this for reality experiences that we're improving a lot. And we're seeing a lot of really good use cases for reality experiences. So you can actually have, for example, a host on a virtual event to be one of these bots that we've seen, and it can do all the presentation for you sometimes if you need someone to introduce that or be a case of enhanced reality right there. And finally, one very good use case that we've seen in the past few years is going to be facial recognition. So moving forward on events, especially on large events that have a lot of people to check in, we don't need to get these queues anymore. We're going to end this for once and for all.